If you've ever sat in a process improvement meeting and thought, I have no idea what we're actually trying to fix or how we're going to measure success, that feeling has a name. And the solution has a name too. It's called a project charter. Today I'm going to walk you through a real project charter template section by section and show you exactly how to fill it out as a healthcare operations professional, even if you're just starting out with Lean Six Sigma. And here's the key thing I want you to hear before we go any further. You are not expected to fill this out alone. As a white belt, your job is not to have all the answers. Your job is to know who to talk to and what questions to ask to pull those answers together. That distinction is everything. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, everything I'm teaching in this video is part of the free white belt training inside the Lean Six Sigma Accelerator community on School. The link is in the description below. You can join for free, get access to the templates, the tools, and the community. Go grab it after you watch. All right, let's talk about the project charter. A project charter is a formal document that defines the what, why, who, and when of an improvement project before you do a single minute of data collection or process mapping. Think of it like a contract between you, your team, and leadership. It answers 4 questions. What problem are we solving? Why does it matter to the organization right now? Who is involved and who has authority? When do we expect to be done? In healthcare, this matters more than in almost any other industry. Because your resources are limited, your staff is stretched, and every hour spent on the wrong project is an hour not spent on patient care or operational efficiency. A well-written charter does 2 things for you. First, it forces clarity before you start. You'd be amazed how many improvement projects fall apart not because of lack of effort, but because nobody agreed on what success looked like. Second, it gives you executive cover. When your sponsor signs that charter, they formally authorized your project. You're not just doing a side project. You're leading an official organizational initiative. Now let's walk through each section. The template has 10 of them. I'll show you what each one means, how to approach it, and who you should be talking to when you don't know the answer. The header fields seem simple, but don't blow past them. You've got project name, department, your name as the lead, your MBB or coach, charter date, revision number, project sponsor, and target completion date. A few notes here. Your project sponsor is the person with budget authority and organizational influence who is invested in this project succeeding. In a hospital context, that might be a director of operations, a VP of patient experience, or a department chief. If you don't have a sponsor yet, find one before you complete this document. A charter without a sponsor is just a wish list. Your MBB or coach is your Lean Six Sigma mentor, someone who can guide your methodology. If you're working through this as a white belt learning exercise, that might be a green belt or black belt, or a coach inside your program. The revision number is there for a reason. This is a living document. You'll update it as your project evolves. Starting at revision 0 or revision 1 is fine. The business case answers one question. Why does this project matter to the organization? Not to your unit, not to you personally, to the organization. This is where a lot of first-timers get stuck because they write something like, we have too much overtime in the ED. That's a problem. It's not a business case. The template gives you a formula to follow. This project aligns with organizational priority. Addressing problem area will support our goals of Outcome 1 and Outcome 2, contributing an estimated financial or operational impact. Here's what that sounds like in a real healthcare example. This project aligns with our 2025 patient throughput and cost reduction strategic priorities. Addressing inefficiencies in the discharge process will support our goals of reducing average length of stay and improving bed availability, contributing an estimated $180,000 annually in reduced overtime and avoidable readmissions. Do you see the difference? You're connecting your frontline pain point to the language that leadership uses in board meetings and budget conversations. Who do you talk to for this? Start with your department's strategic plan, your hospital's annual report or quality improvement goals, and your manager or director. Ask them, what are the top 2 or 3 operational priorities that leadership is tracking this year? Then build your business case around those answers. You don't need to know the financial impact off the top of your head. You need to know who holds that number. Usually finance, a quality analyst, or a senior director, and go ask them. This is arguably the most important section in the entire charter, and the one people get wrong the most. A strong problem statement is specific. It names a process, a unit, or a measurable phenomenon. Data-backed. It includes a frequency, rate, or volume, free of assumed causes. It does not say because of or due to, free of proposed solutions. It does not say we need to implement. The template gives you a formula. Since time duration, process unit, has experienced defect or problem, occurring approximately frequency or rate, this has resulted in operational, financial, or patient impact as measured by metric. Here's a healthcare example. Over the past 12 months, the medical surgical unit has experienced an average discharge delay of 2.4 hours past the physician-ordered discharge time, occurring in approximately 60% of discharges. This has resulted in an average of 3 avoidable ED boarding hours per day and an estimated $95,000 in annual throughput loss, as measured by our patient flow dashboard. That's a problem statement. Notice, we didn't say why it's happening. We didn't say who's to blame. We didn't say what the solution is. The template even includes a tip that I love. If you find yourself writing because or due to, stop. That's root cause territory, which belongs in the analyze phase. Who do you talk to for this? Your charge nurses, your unit coordinators, your quality team, and anyone who manages the data dashboard for that process. You need someone who can pull historical metrics. If you don't have data yet, your problem statement can include a range or estimate. Just be transparent about it. Your goals need to be SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The template has a table with columns for goal statement, baseline metric, target, and data source. You should have 1 to 3 primary goals. Any more than that and your project scope is probably too broad. The formula: reduce metric from current baseline to target state by target date, as measured by data source. Example: reduce average discharge delay from 2.4 hours to 1.0 hour by September 30th, 2025, as measured by the ADT system. Discharge timestamp report. Notice it has a number it's starting from, a number it's going to, and a deadline. That's what makes it a goal, not a hope. The most common mistake here: people write goals that sound measurable but don't have a baseline. If you don't know where you're starting from, you can't prove you improved. Establishing your baseline is one of your first tasks in the measure phase. Scope is where you draw the boundaries of your work, and I'd argue this section saves more projects from failure than any other. You define where the process starts, where the process ends, what is included, what is not included. That last one, what's excluded, is critically important. It sets expectations with your sponsor, your team, and every stakeholder you'll interact with. Scope creep is the #1 reason improvement projects stall. Healthcare example. This project begins at the time a physician enters a discharge order and ends when the patient has vacated the room and it is marked ready for housekeeping. It includes day shift discharges on the medical, surgical, and telemetry units, Monday through Friday. It does not include the emergency department, ICU, weekend discharges, or capital requests for additional transport staff. Clear, specific, and defensible. If someone comes to you mid-project and says, "Well, what about the ICU?" you can point to this section. This section quantifies what's at stake if the project succeeds. The template breaks it into 4 categories: hard savings, soft benefits, patient/quality impact, and staff/cultural benefit. Hard savings are direct cost reductions: overtime hours eliminated, supply waste reduced, avoidable readmissions prevented. Soft benefits are harder to put a dollar figure on but still matter: hours recovered, error reduction, improved staff morale. You don't need to be a financial analyst to complete this section. What you need is to have a conversation with someone in finance or your operations director and ask, if we reduced metric by X amount, what would that be worth to the organization? They usually know. And if they help you build this estimate, they become invested in the project's success. Use conservative numbers. The template says it best: it's better to underpromise and overdeliver. List everyone with a defined role: your core team, subject matter experts, data owners, and key stakeholders. Include how many hours per week each person is expected to contribute. This section often gets filled in optimistically. People say they'll commit 5 hours a week and then life happens. Be realistic. Most healthcare professionals doing improvement work alongside their regular duties contribute 2 to 5 hours per week. Design your project timeline around that reality. SMEs to think about for a healthcare project. A charge nurse or unit coordinator who knows the process hands-on. A quality or data analyst who can pull and interpret metrics. A finance partner who can validate your benefit estimates IT. If your project touches any system or workflow tool, you are not expected to know all of these things yourself. You are expected to identify who does and keep them engaged. This section maps out your project timeline across the 5 DMAIC phases: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, plus a closure phase. The template gives you a standard range. Define takes 2 to 3 weeks. Measure and analyze each take 3 to 5 weeks. Improve takes 4 to 6 weeks. Control takes 3 to 4 weeks, and closure takes 1 to 2 weeks. Total, roughly 4 to 6 months for a standard green belt project. Don't rush the measure and analyze phases. That's where you build the case for your solution. Jumping straight to improve is one of the most common and most costly mistakes in process improvement work. Each phase has pre-filled key deliverables in the template. For example, define ends with a signed charter, SIPOC, VOC data, and a team kickoff. These deliverables are your checkpoints. They tell you you're ready to move to the next phase. Every project has risks. Naming them up front doesn't make you look unprepared. It makes you look credible. A risk is something that could go wrong. A constraint is a fixed limitation: budget, staffing caps, regulatory requirements. An assumption is something you're treating as true until you have data to confirm or deny it. Healthcare example: risk, staff turnover mid-project. Likelihood, medium. Mitigation, cross-train a backup lead. Constraint, no additional FTEs will be approved for the duration of the project. Assumption, physician discharge order behavior will remain consistent during the data collection period. If any of these assumptions turn out to be wrong, you revise the charter. That's what the revision number field is for. Get signatures from your project sponsor, yourself as the lead, your MBB or coach, and your department manager before you start the measure phase. A signed charter is your formal authorization to proceed. It means leadership has reviewed the project, agreed on the scope, and committed to supporting it. If someone has concerns, great, surface them now, not halfway through your data collection. I want to step back and make something very clear, because I think it's the most important thing I can say in this whole video. You are not expected to fill out this charter alone. When I say white belt concepts, I'm not talking about knowing all the answers. I'm talking about developing a skill set for asking the right questions to the right people and building the habit of researching before assuming. Think about what we just walked through. The business case? You get that from your strategic plan and your director. The problem statement data? You get that from a quality analyst or your operations dashboard. The financial benefits? You get those from a finance partner. The risk register? You build that with your team, not for them. Your job as a white belt, and honestly, as any LSS practitioner at any level, is to connect the dots between the people who hold pieces of the picture. You are the integrator, not the oracle. The charter template isn't a test you have to pass. It's a conversation guide. Every blank field is a question you need to go ask someone. That's the work. And that work. Talking to the right people, asking structured questions, pulling the pieces together into a coherent document is exactly what process improvement leaders do. The more comfortable you get doing that, the more visible you become. And visibility is what gets you promoted. All right, that is a full walkthrough of the Lean Six Sigma Project Charter template. 10 sections. One document that gives your improvement project a foundation, a sponsor, a scope, and a timeline. Download the template, open it up, and even if you're not running a formal project right now, try filling it out for a problem you've already noticed in your unit. Use it as a thinking exercise. You'll be surprised how much clarity comes from trying to fill in those blanks. And if you want more of this, the full free white belt training is available inside our school community. Templates, tools, video lessons, and a community of healthcare operations professionals doing this exact work. The link is in the description below. Join us, introduce yourself, and let me know what problem you're thinking about tackling first. If this was helpful, subscribe. I put out new training content every week, and drop a comment below. What's the one part of the Charter that feels most unclear or intimidating right now? I read, everyone. See you in the next video.